Hi all, hope all of you are doing well. So today I am starting a new series that is data engineering interview question. So today's topic, the topic is today is tell me the difference between data lake and data warehouse. Now to explain that, what I did, I just create a diagram for data lake. I will explain you what is data lake and why we need data lake. I will also explain you what is data warehouse and why we need data warehouse, and then finally I'll give you the comparison table between data lake and data warehouse. Now to start with, why we need data lake. If you see in the left hand side of the diagram, there are different kind of data sources from where data used to come to the data platforms. They may be structured data, they may be semi-structured data, they may be unstructured data. When you say structured data, it is mainly the relational database management systems where data is stored in table and views. And also we have software systems which are running for long time, like enterprise resource planning softwares, ERP. Then you have customer relationship management like Siebel and Salesforce, and supply chain management like Oracle apps and SAP. So this structured data you have to store. Then you have a semi-structured data like JSON, XML, CSV, HTML kind of data. These are semi-structured data where it is not exactly defined structure, but it has some structure. So that's why we call it a semi-structured data. And in the recent time, we have a lot of unstructured data. We have a lot of video, audio files, images, right? So IoT sensor data and media data. So when there is a need to store all these data in a common data storage, then we require a separate kind of a data platform. So data lake is kind of a data storage repository where we can store structured, unstructured, semi-structured, all kind of data. Now when we store the data, we ingest the data into the data lake. If you can see, there are mainly two kind of ingestion happen. One is a batch or scheduled ingestion where you will just in an interval of time you will run some jobs which will copy the data from source to target location, and also the streaming of real data. So basically a lot of streaming data continuously fed into the data lake. And when you store this data in the data lake, whatever data lake have been developed with time for the enterprises, we have seen that there are three key layers in the data lake. One is a raw or landing zone of data, one is a transform zone, and the processed data zone. So landing zone is something where you just push the data as in raw format, because as a part of data lake, we never transform the data when we are ingesting the data. You just copy the data, whatever the data is available in source format. Now transform zone is something where we transform the raw data to a target data format. And for that we can have a batch kind of processing which will run on regular interval of time, and also real-time processing data pipelines. So this transformation zone will have a lot of transformation jobs which will basically convert the data from source to target. Example, you may have a file where there are 1000 columns and in the target you need only 100 columns. So then you have to write a transformer job or process which will just map from 1000 to 100 columns. The process data zone is kind of a final layer where the data stored as the target format, from where the data is consumed by the data consumption layer. If you can see in the diagram, right hand side, these are the consumption layers from where data lake data will be retrieved. It may be BI analytics reports or data warehouse or real-time alerting system or search and querying dashboards, right? So these are the consumption layer. And at the below, if you can see, I've just given, there are four key elements, which is the data security, data quality, data governance, and data monitoring. Now, why we need that? because when we are dumping lot of data in data lake, we do not define any structure, we do not define any schema, we just push the data in data lake. But at the same time, we have to maintain certain quality, we have to govern some part of the data, and we also have a secure data, right? If the data is not secured in the data lake, then business will have a larger impact. So these are the key services which should have as a part of data lake. And data monitoring is something, it is a continuous monitoring platform where we just see the performance of a data lake. So if the transformations are happening correctly, and if the consumption layer is getting the data in the right time or not. Now moving to the data warehouse. Now data warehouse is something where if you see the middle layer, right, so it is more of a tables and views. So we have a lot of source systems, but most of the source systems are having structured data, right? It may be CSV, it may be Excel, it may be some tab delimited files, right? It may be some transactional systems, right? So which are running in again RDBMS. So we collect all this transactional data and we basically push this data to a centralized repository, centralized location, whose design is already uh, done. So basically, what you say that if I have to just extract and load the data in a data warehouse, before that I have to design which are my tables where I will push the data. So maybe I am just reading, say, thousands of Excel files, and then I'm pushing that Excel file data to, say, 100 tables, right? Now, the structure of the tables I have to define beforehand. So, in a data warehouse, typically what used to happen, we have to create a schema, database schema. Under that, we will create multiple tables, and then on these tables, we will load the data. And again, in case of data warehouse also, we have multiple layers. We have a raw layer, we have a transform layer, and we have a process layer and presentation layer. But the basic difference between data warehouse and data lake is data warehouse is mostly structured data, and whenever you are inserting data, you have to define the schema beforehand. And if you want to change or format any data, then you have to change the design of the internal tables, which so that makes data warehouse little bit rigid. And these are mostly used for reporting purpose, business reporting purpose. Now, just to extend the thought, I've just given a sample use case example. This is an example of a, say, e-retail system like Amazon. If you see in the left-hand side, these are all transactional softwares like ordering software, payment software, inventory management, right? Order item dispatch and order delivery. So a customer, whenever he or she order an item in online portal, uh, then he or she paid the amount, right? Then Amazon will issue a delivery notice to the inventory. So from inventory, the item is picked up and then dispatched to the customer. And finally, the customer will receive the item from the delivery channel, and they will give the feedback. So if I see this end-to-end architecture, I can see a lot of software systems in the left-hand side are involved, and most of them may have a tabular data stored in a database or schema. So those transactional data have to be pulled out in the middle layer. So if you see, as per hypothetical scenario, I have just created multiple tables. One is order, payment, inventory, order item dispatch, and order delivery. So these are the tables which are data warehouse table where we will be loading the data. And in the extreme right hand side, you can see these are the business reports. So when there is a need from business, they will request different kind of reports. Then you join these data warehouse tables, you write some SQL queries or procedures, and then you give them the right result so that the business can see the report and decide what will be their next step. So this is a data warehouse. Now I will move to the final point, that is the difference between data lake and data warehouse. So hope I am able to make you understand what is data lake and what is data warehouse. And if you rightly understood that, this difference will be very simple. So to start with data types, so you can understand that data lakes the data types will be more versatile, right? Can have structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. But in case of data warehouse, we are mostly dealing with the structured data. Now, schema, this point is very important. Schema, in case of data lake, it's a schema on read. In case of data warehouse, it is schema on write. So what does that mean? So whenever I want to ingest some data in data warehouse, I have to first design what will be my table structure, right? And then I have to insert the data in such a manner that I do not break the design constraint. So that is something. So you have to design or define the schema before writing to the data warehouse. Whereas in the data lake, we call it schema on read. So you can dump or ingest the data as in raw format, and later in the phase, as per the business use case, as per the target data format, you will pull the data, and at that time you will define the schema, transformation schema, right? So you define what will be your target schema. Depending upon that, you will write your transformation. So that's why you are calling schema on read. Processing, so in case of data lake, it is ELT, because first you load the data, and later as per the use case you write the transformations, you define the schema, and then you write the transformations to get the target format. So that's why this is ELT, extract, load, and transform. Whereas in data warehouse it is ETL, extract, transform, load, because before you load the data you have to convert the data in a format which is defined as per the design, because you have created the table and you have defined the schema for the table. So when you are loading the data, that data format should be matching whatever is your design. If it is not matching, the loading will fail. I'll give an example. Suppose you have given that you have created a table, first name, last name is a string, and then salary is kind of an integer. Now, if you try to insert a data in an integer field as string, the process will fail, right? So you have to do the transform in such a manner that loading can happen. Now, data lake is optimized for mainly to store the multiple types of data and on-demand processing of the data, whereas data warehouse is optimized for business analysis query performance, because it's a business analytics systems, right? You have to just do the performance of your query. Now, on the quality of data, data lake is like raw data, so the quality will be little bit lesser, but in current scenario we are maintaining a bit of quality in data lake, because otherwise data lake become data swamp. So we just create some level of quality, but still it is not like a data warehouse. In data warehouse it's a highly controlled and curated data used for specific business purpose, so you cannot change the quality of the data. So always data warehouse have a better quality of the data than compared to data lake. Now from the analytics point of view, on top of on data lake, we generally build machine learning or predictive analytics and generative AI use cases. So mainly for AI and ML, data lakes are used. Sometimes it is used for data warehouse also, but mostly for the generative AI and AI landscape. And for data warehouse, we use it for reporting, BI, and visualizations. Mainly the business reporting happen top up on data warehouse. Now, flexibility of data. So data in data lake is more flexible because you are storing raw data and you can transform the data as per your need. But in case of data warehouse, it is less flexible, right? Because you have a more schema design data. So thank you guys. I think you have enjoyed my video. Just please do subscribe to my channel. It will help me to create more videos for you. Thank you.